What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Layman's Review. Today, we are debuting and reviewing Invincible. It is Amazon Prime's latest superhero coming-of-age story. We've both finished it, and this is our spoiler review. So if you are going to watch, please understand that we are going into full spoilers of all 8 episodes in any order that we decide. And we're going to kick it right off here and just a general idea of what we both thought about the show. Right. What did you think when it was done? Right. When it was finished, what was your first thought?
My first thought, honestly, was I was underwhelmed.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
The ending was not one that I thought, but definitely one that it caught me off guard. But it was kind of, you wanted more. You definitely wanted something to happen. And the fight scene at the end between Omni-Man and Invincible was great.
It was incredible.
But it was, what do you do after that? He just literally ups and leaves and expects it to be, okay, and there's where the story stops.
I'm the opposite. When this ended, my brain kicked into overdrive about all these storylines that they kind of went over, and they had a montage of all the storylines that are still yet to be ended. So
you don't think that was too many?
The battle, no. I think what it does
How
is...
many are there?
It shows you that the show is this big, and you thought it was this big, and it gives you something to chew on while you're waiting for the next season.
All right, so we got the general thought of what we thought of the show. The ending was good, definitely worth a watch. For a free show included with a subscription, I would definitely say you have to watch it. Now, going a little deeper in, character-wise, there was a lot of character development. You had Mark, who was starting off in the beginning, just getting his powers and, becoming that teenage superhero that we know from a lot of different genres.
I mean, it's a common trope. It's a coming-of-age story. I know it's superhero, and a lot of people are going to think that because it's superhero, that means that, there's going to be all these basic tropes in there. And while a lot of the tropes do exist, and they are there, the way the storyline bleeds together to me, and the way that they tell you the stories, and the character arcs in just this season were really good.
All right, so you liked your character arcs.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite character?
You
had to pick one. I'm not saying one or the other.
Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a left field choice because a lot of folks are going to pick one of the main characters. I am fascinated to see what happens with Battle Beast. Battle Beast was the character, the lion type character, who just destroyed the entire Guardians of the Globe
with a mace.
Yeah, and that scene where he just basically puts a hole into Mark Grayson and Invincible, and I could have sworn that Omni-Man was going to come in there at one point.
You saw his feet.
Yeah.
He was looking down into where the fight was happening, and he was like, to me, as I'm sure you were, you didn't want Omni-Man. Why is he not saving his son? He loves his son, wanted to take the time to train him.
Testing him.
And become. So when Mark was getting his ass beat and had a hole literally in his stomach, he didn't step in. And
no.
I think some of that was foreshadowing to what was going on at the end.
Yeah.
At the end, Omni-Man didn't even love his wife or his son. He could
She's
make another.
Pet
a pet. Oh, God, that actually, I was like, okay, all right. But
and his wife was listening to it the whole time.
Which I was happy with, too, because then Mark didn't have to take his time to talk about it. But going back to Battle Beast, I think, that was one at the end of the show that you saw that could be a potential plot line. Where does he come from? How did he so handily beat the Guardians of the Globe?
The hell is he so strong for?
Right, he felt pain. Yeah, he had a hiccup, but he really didn't.
No.
Invincible, a Viltrumite, is supposed to be indestructible. You see that with the blood they were testing, and then you had Battle Beast. Really, I would have I think he personally, not being a favorite character of mine, but definitely wanted to see what he is capable of doing against Omni-Man.
Yeah, or other Viltrumites besides Mark, who are more experienced that come from Viltrum. So, who was your favorite character then?
I started with Damien Darkblood. I thought he was a cool character. Definitely introduced him.
I liked him too, actually.
Because when you first see it, why can you see your breath all of a sudden? Was it that cold? And I'm like,
Yeah.
Then he appears, speaks in broken sentences. I love it. He has no time for
Yoda
anything.
talking motherfucker.
Yeah,
Speaks in
he doesn't have
tongues.
time. He speaks in,
Yeah.
and he gets it done.
Trying to find truth,
Yeah.
I am.
Right, and that's it. You knew what he was saying, but then eventually, he obviously gets banished. I don't think that's the end of him. He'll come back.
I want to know what about hell.
Right, like
How
obviously
we got
that
out
is
of
a
there.
dark place that a demon doesn't even want to be in.
Yeah.
And then you have, so at the end of the show, my favorite character, or characters, it is one, but it's the Mauler twins.
Yeah, I like them too
They were just,
because
they weren't villains. They were just literally out for them.
Yeah.
And they even bickered like brothers, but even though they were the same person. But you definitely have. There's more to them. They brought him back several times,
and they're now back in jail, but you could tell
and
they're
they
not
wanted
done
to be.
yet.
They want to be there for what was it? Popeye night, chicken Popeye,
Chicken
day or
Popeye,
something?
yeah.
And you could tell the one was like, "Yeah, this is what I'm back here for,"
Yeah.
and he was fine. Looked at the guy he hurt because he had the neck brace on, so finished that. Like that, he didn't die. They just
Right.
He's still a guard, but it was definitely like the way they used him to fix Robot, and they went after. They brought back the Immortal.
And they thought
They
were
had the
controlling
idea,
him.
like, well, is this going to work?
He had
he's
the
not Immortal.
schematics
Stapled
for that.
them together,
Yeah.
then plucked the staples, put the thing on, and he was just so enraged that nobody at that point, or they did say that Robot gave them, faulty schematics, which
He probably did.
you would expect that because
Yeah.
Robot's it now.
At the end of the day, he's not going to corroborate with villains.
No,
he's going to use them for his goals because whatever he's up to.
Well, you saw what he became.
Right.
He the whole, what was it, episode 4 or 3 that he took Rexplode's blood.
Yeah. To use.
And so
for a
you
clone.
immediately thought he was a bad guy because he took his blood, released the Mauler twins, and really you made this whole setup that he's going to be the next big bad.
I never thought he was so much of a bad guy as much as I thought that there was something that was bothering him that we just have to yet to see. And it was kind of so obvious the way they were foretelling what the storyline was going.
Did you expect a in a jar slug to come out of that?
I can't say I expected that.
Right, and
but
you've seen that, like the whole robotics. Obviously, you knew someone programmed Robot to be so good. They don't develop like that. So some scientist or whatever had to make him what he was, but definitely not what I thought. I knew someone was controlling him, as you saw with the guy from the college who they used in later to fight Omni-Man, and they brought all these
or Invincible, you mean?
No, they did both. Remember, he sent the soldiers that were reanimated.
Oh, right.
For Omni-Man, and they were doing good. They were trying to eat his face, which I liked. It brought in Kirkman's, Walking Dead. He wrote it. Why it was neat to bring in a superhero futuristic zombie. All they want to do is eat your face off, but they can't. They're gnawing on his nose, his cheek. They're on him, but he obviously, being Omni-Man, just destroyed.
So in that vein, then, speaking of storylines, what was your favorite?
Titan.
God damn.
I think because after watching episode 1, I totally forgot that he was in episode 1. Because no name, no nothing,
right.
no backstory. But Mark, when he re-met Titan, referenced, "Oh, I stopped you from robbing a bank." But now when I went and rewatched episode 1, it really gave a new light to
his early cameo.
Yeah, where did he come from? Oh, wait, I saw him robbing a bank now.
Yep.
And then you jump forward and you see, and that storyline took a hell of a twist.
He's Luke Cage.
He is, but with a little bit of Kingpin, I think, if we were taking from the Marvel Universe. Because he quickly assumed that role of the leader. Machine Head was gone, and then all of a sudden, Titan's in charge. Was that the whole time? Was he the boss with Isotrope? And the guy who teleported?
Isotope.
Yeah, Isotope.
Yep.
Sorry. And I think, you'd like to see, okay, well, that, I think, was the plan all along. It was to rope, some baddies in and show what the power that Titan has so he could run the underground.
I think his goal to run the city
at
was
a base
the end
level,
goal.
not at the superhero level.
But
he's a hero, or not a hero. He has
like
powers.
an anti-hero.
He has powers.
Yeah.
But he cares about his home. His daughter's sick. A lot comes out of that story, and
he was very sympathetic to me.
Yes, because he cared,
and I could logically understand why he was doing the things he was doing. It wasn't just he's a bad guy because he likes bad guy things.
Right. He wants money. No, his family came first.
He sees that the city's broken, and he wants to rebuild it in his image of whatever it is he believes in, but his
what it
family comes
should be.
first. And he at the end of the day, he wants better for the city. He's just going to cross the gray line in order to get it accomplished. Like,
where heroes are, white and black, they won't blend them because it's like, well, there's right and wrong.
Well, which is what he made fun of Invincible for when he first met. He was like, you don't even know what criminal means. He said that in the line. He said, oh, you're the criminal I stopped the other day. He said, criminal, you don't even know what that means.
Right. Like,
so,
he wasn't, honestly, at this point, I wouldn't say Titan's a criminal. Titan
definitely wouldn't say he is.
Now, he's a man out for his family and himself, because he is the breadwinner of the family.
But he's
Obviously,
still
he saw the
thinking a
wife.
big picture.
Oh, yeah, he is, because he finally attained that top position in the crime world, which you and I both know, that means you have power. When you're at the top, you control all, and you definitely want to take that from him. So that storyline was neat. I definitely could see more coming of it. Now, never it'll be its own season. I can't say that.
It could be like a Daredevil type thing.
I don't think that's the direction of the show because Mark is too big. Invincible is now the hero that once the heroes can't win, who do they call?
Yeah.
They call Invincible. And now I'm even interested in myself to see how that goes because, Invincible's been beat more than he's won.
Well, he gets his ass beat every single time.
Literally, where Omni-Man
but he's
was,
weeks after getting his
untouchable,
powers.
like nothing. He takes 6 weeks to heal, and he still's bruised, which is a great part of that show. Like, they aged on like wounds.
Yeah.
And
well, to be fair, Mark kind of did bounce back real quick, but he has Viltrumite blood, and the show shows you the Viltrumite blood bounces back really quick. There's hardly anything you can do to damage it. Actually, there's nothing you can do to damage it because
they tried. Cecil was trying.
Tried to actually damage their blood just as a failsafe because at the end of the day, Cecil did not want to be in a position where he knew there was this one scenario where there was no way out of it.
How do you beat?
How do you beat the guy who's supposed to be protecting us all if he decides to do what he did in the end? And
You've seen that in storylines before, in other comics and other stories. It's how do you beat the one that beats all?
Yeah.
Which you can't.
That's my favorite storyline. To me, my favorite was the storyline. From episode 1 at the end of it where Invincible destroyed the Guardians of the Globe, killed every one of them. I was immediately
on episode
hooked.
1.
Okay, I rewinded and I watched it again because me and my wife were having a conversation when I watched it and I thought I missed something. I thought there was something that happened. There was a scene that I missed and then it clearly explained what happened.
To show like why it was happening.
Yeah.
Which
so I went back
want to nip at the entire season. You want every episode to explain why he did it.
The ending of the first episode, I was immediately hooked.
Because Ryan tried to get me to watch it for a couple days, and I'm like, oh God, I'm not ready for another episode or another series of superheroes. I'm kind of burnt out with superheroes.
And I told him, I know it's superheroes, but it tells a different story. There is a different layer of delivery that the show gives.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of that, like, speaking of storylines, and then we'll move into how the show can improve. Which I think, to me, between you and I, it'll be very minimal.
Well, you started in the very beginning of the video saying you were underwhelmed by the end.
I was by the ending, but I'm ready for season 2. There's a lot more storyline. There's a lot of things that you're looking forward to. They held you just enough, but so I decided to watch that first episode and give it the shot because I've seen every Marvel movie, and I've stayed away from Justice League. They're just getting so repetitive. I could tell you the story now, but one night I was bored, decided to put on episode 1, and at the end of episode 1, I took a breath finally, and I was like, one more. So I tried not to binge it because I wanted to enjoy it.
I binged the whole thing.
But at one point, in 1 week, which I never do, I finished the season, and it was great.
Yeah.
My one improve on, which is very minimal and very surface level, I didn't like that they wore the same clothes every scene and every day. Specifically Mark. You saw the other ones change. Mark wore his sweater with his yellow button-up.
I didn't realize that. I overlooked that.
Every episode, it's hanging out on the side here.
Oh, I didn't realize that. You know what? That's a common trope, though.
It is.
The characters have one outfit.
Right.
Peter Griffin. How many times?
I was going to say exactly Family Guy and The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And you have those series that do that and you don't ever pay attention.
The animators are mad at you right now because they're like, do you want to come draw this?
No, I don't.
Because we don't want to draw that.
And comics and storylines and stuff, it's an art. One thing I've never had. I definitely want to, be great at something, but drawing isn't it.
Yeah.
And I give them the credit for what it is, but if I really had to nitpick, I was fine with the violence. I was fine with all the fighting. I was fine with all the storylines. It seemed like they packed a lot in 8 episodes. I would have loved to see it be 10 to 13.
But you know what? Even though it wasn't, thank you so much to Amazon Prime, to Robert Kirkman for giving us something longer than 23 minutes. Because I watch a lot of anime, and
I didn't think about that, but 40-some minutes,
23 minutes for an episode to tell you, like, intro, some trials and tribulations, and a conclusion is just, I don't know, I just don't like that format.
And I'm one of those, like,
45 was great.
I'm a short attention span. You know me, I've watched the 23-minute episodes and I love it. But at the end of the episode, and I kind of liked where they, the credits started, showed a couple things, and then went right back to the story.
I loved it.
I loved it. It was good, like, oh man, it's done. Oh, wait, it's back, it's back. But
sometimes went on for extra minutes at a time,
So like the first episode, that's where it hooked me, is because it ended the Mark and Invincible storyline for that episode, and then it jumped to Omni-Man where he destroyed the Guardians of the Globe.
Now, see, we're talking about things we don't like. This is supposed to be a segment on things we don't like, and we're getting back to what we like about it.
So, honestly, like I said, I had that minimal, like, stupid drawing part of, hey, change her outfit every once in a while. Other than that, I honestly couldn't critique the episodes or the show as a whole, the writing. Now I don't want to read the comic.
I'm not reading it, no.
Right. I don't want to.
I want to be surprised by every episode, and this is one that I'm going to definitely tune in for every season and now be surprised. So we're going to wrap it up and get into our final thoughts here.
So we're
about the ending. Yeah. We started with Ryan saying he didn't really like the ending, and it kind of disappointed him. For me, as soon as it was over, I thought about all the storylines. I thought about where all the places the show could go. It took Omni-Man's character and immediately made me think of 2 things: Dragon Ball Z with Saiyans and Star Wars with the Empire.
Now, are you saying Saiyans as the Viltrumites?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and because they started the same line of way, they were a warrior race. They expanded.
I've only watched limited
galaxy.
Dragon Ball Z and all those kind of that genre or that story.
We're going to review a lot of anime on the show, so
I'll be learning a lot.
I watch all of it, and he's going to be introduced to a lot, so it's going to be cool to see like how a seasoned anime viewer likes a lot of anime from someone's perspective who doesn't really enjoy that medium or has never at least dabbled into it.
Oh, I have.
So much.
I've dabbled with Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay,
those are
Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh are not good examples of current meta anime.
No,
okay,
good, great 90s anime. I think for that,
and I think Invincible in a lot of ways is a Western anime because
that's how I've told people about that word, the Western anime.
It's like a Western anime.
It kind of makes. I'm not saying anime's bad, but to me, anime is all the same.
Watch your mouth now.
It's all the same.
Watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth, young man.
No.
It's all the same art,
guys.
the same story.
Let him know. Let him know in the comments below all the shows that will prove to him that anime is legit. To me, it's the best form of medium there is.
We'll watch it, and we'll do episode to episode, or we'll watch the whole series, and we'll just give you our thoughts and feelings about it. And me, like Ryan said, I'm not going to be the 100%, fan instantly. I'm going to have to be convinced, and I'm fine with that.